stop trying to find yourself, especially in your 20s. It is limiting and restricting you and confining you into this little box that you've created for yourself, and that what you're telling other people that you are and you like and you don't like. Because then when you do something out of that, people will be like, oh, well, that's not like you. That is the worst place you can put yourself in. And I understand, because I do that. And I have done that, and I have recognized more and more what that was doing to myself, to my beliefs about myself, the beliefs about what I can do, what I can't do, what I can experience, what I can't experience, all of these sorts of things. And I'm not talking about don't find your true core values, find what you're passionate about, find what, brings you joy. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying if you don't like to go out, drinking, right? I'm not saying force yourself to go drinking and go out partying, whatever. I, for one, not like to drink, not like to go out, whatever. Then when I started being like, oh yeah, maybe I'll have a cocktail or two tonight, why not? People, not my friends anymore, but, they'd be like, oh, look out, especially boys. Oh, look out, Shakira's having a drink. Shakira's doing this. Like, stop making a fucking deal about it. Stop making a deal. If I want to choose to do something, I can. And I realized that I was putting that perception out, I guess, but also there was immaturity from other people in the way they behave. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about limiting yourself, boxing yourself in to the point where you can't experience the things that actually you might really like. A podcast that I absolutely love that you need to go listen to is called Do You Fucking Mind? Love it, by Alexis Fernandez. And I listened to one of her episodes like years ago, and something she said was, I will never speak for my future self. And ever since she had said that, I have taken that with me. I don't speak for my future self, because I don't know what future me is going to have experienced. Opinions on things, the world changes, trends change, things change, new things come out. You can't speak for your future self. You don't know what's going to happen to you, the people around you, the circumstances that you get put in or that you choose to be in, because in this life, I do think that might be controversial to say, but everything is a choice. To an extent, not everything. Where you are now in your life is an accumulation of your choices that you have made, whether you like it or not. The thing with doing this is that you can close yourself off to internal and external opportunities because you have this fixed mindset about who you are, and you try and carry that through, and you're allowed to try different things. You're allowed to try things. You can decide that you don't like something. There's no problem with that. But, don't knock it till you try it kind of thing. But also if you have tried it and say, oh, I don't like that, but then years down the track you come to like something, you shouldn't feel restricted or guilty, or the people around you shouldn't make you feel restricted or guilty for now wanting to do that thing or wear that thing or experience this or go on this holiday or go to this country or whatever it is, or try this career. So I'm just saying that if you are someone who goes, I'm not like that, sticks their nose up a bit, just remember that things change. Remain humble in your judgments. Don't, it's like fashion, right? And clothing trends. Everyone will shit on something. Like, look at Kim Kardashian, when she started wearing activewear as everyday wear, right? When she started wearing all the Yeezy, the long bike shorts with dad sneakers and hoodies, or, activewear with heels, all that stuff, right? Everyone gave her so much shit. Wasn't long after, everyone else was fucking doing it, weren't they? And from an eldest daughter perspective, we are told, oh, you're the responsible one. We never needed to worry about you. You're the strong one. I think this is also really damaging, because when we need help, right? Which, like I said, we don't need help. Okay, I'm just going to use an example. When I was going through my breakup from my partner of 6 years, right? One day just came, dumped, dropped the bomb, left, never heard from him again. I was fine until a few months later, and then I started to feel it. And being really strong and I've got this and don't worry about me and everything like that. And then there was one night in particular that I was distraught. I was just bawling my eyes out. There was no one in the house. I was blasting Lana Del Rey on my huge speaker, just sobbing like a fucking mess. And I always thought, I've got this, I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong, I'm strong. I don't need it, blah, 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 whatever. And that night I felt so awful. I didn't know who to call. I didn't know who to call because I'd never asked for help. And that was really scary. And I ended up calling my nan because I actually lived with my other grandparents, and they were away overseas. Anyway, I called my other nan and I went over there and slept there for the night. And she, like my nanny always does, she had towel ready. She had a little Lindt chocolate ball on the bed ready for me to go. Made me toast and tea in the morning and cut it up into fours. The best, like exactly what you need in that moment. But I let myself get to that point because I didn't allow myself to not be strong, which it's not about strength. We know this, right? But I didn't let myself be seen to be upset about it. And that was detrimental because ultimately I reached a point where I had to go to someone. Like I had to. I felt so awful, so shit, so distraught. And I did, and I had to go. Another example I want to use, and oh my God, you can see, look, I'm wearing these are my favorite slippies. They're from Kmart and they're leopard print, and me and my sister have matching. It's cold, so don't mind that. Another example I want to use, especially when it comes to opportunity. All throughout my teenage years, everything, right? I never liked to be in front of the camera. Never photogenic. I could not pose or, I just smile, whatever. My sister and my cousin, who are only a month apart, they're 3 years younger than me, we used to like film music videos, and those two did dance. I did dance in year 2 for 1 week, cried every session, and then had to be pulled out because, anyway, I ended up doing karate, so that's fine. But I wasn't very graceful. Like, I didn't like being a showgirl. I didn't like being on stage. Didn't like being exactly in front of the camera, everything. So we always used to make music videos, and I'd always be the director. I'd always be behind the camera, and, the girls were the stars of the show. And that led through high school and, just after high school. And I was like, no, it was during COVID. And I was like, I want to teach myself how to take a good photo. I want to teach myself how to pose. And that's exactly what I did. And I got my little tripod, set my camera up and had it on front cam, and I started taking photos of myself. I started posting like an influencer on my Instagram, and, people would have had a grand old time laughing at me and sending my stories and sending my posts and whatever. Because I did. I was like, no, I'm gonna do this. And I did. And I taught myself how to pose, be comfortable in front of the camera, do all of these things, right? But I was never naturally inclined that way. And everyone, exactly, made fun of me, whatever. The point I'm trying to make is that I got a message from a fashion brand that said, hey, I've got a photo shoot next week. Would you like to come and be a model for it? I was like, what the fuck? I'm not a model. I'm not a model. By the way, this shoot was with another model, like a professional size 6 to 8 model, blonde. I was like, oh my fucking God, I'm fucked. Like, I don't think I should do this, whatever. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to go. So I show up to this little shoot and, I'm just doing everything that I'd learned by taking photos of myself. And she loved the photos of me more than the main model. And through that, taking an unpaid gig, getting in front of the camera, doing something that I taught myself how to do, that I was, I had previously boxed myself. I'm just not good in front of the camera. I'm just not photogenic. I just don't look good like that. Like, I just can't do that. Well, guess what? A few weeks later, I got a job working for that brand where it was just me and the owner. And through that, I got fashion experience. I got warehouse experience. Like, I moved us from an apartment into a big warehouse. I did all the customer service. I did all the pick packing. I did all the marketing. I did the social media. I did the editing. I did the photo shoots. I produced them. I was in them. Not getting paid as much as the models, mind you. So I'm still pissed off about that. But I was on the website. Like, people thought it was my brand. But what an opportunity I got from releasing myself from the fucking chains that I put myself in, that I wasn't photogenic, I wasn't a model, I wasn't this. I still say, I'm not a fucking model. I've never modeled professionally. And like I said before, I'm not saying don't find yourself in terms of what your true values are, what your morals are, what feels right and wrong to you, what your, political views are or whatever. But again, even with political views, I guess this might be controversial, but you might have one opinion when you're young, you're renting, or you're living at home or whatever, right? But then, 10, 20 years down the track, if you're a homeowner, depends on where you are in your career, if you have kids, your opinion might be the opposite by the time you get to that. So if you create an identity, I'm talking about when you're creating an identity for yourself based around something that could change in the future. Don't be delusional. Things change, your opinions change, things happen, and you're meant to change. But for the sake of yourself, don't create your identity around something and hold on to that and hold on to that and hold on to that, and then not allow yourself to be curious, to grow, to evolve. Because the only person that's really going to suffer is you. And if you have people around you, like I did, when I was younger, of people saying, oh, well, that's not like you, or since when do you do that? Tell them to get fucked. I don't care about your fucking unsolicited advice. Say it a bit nicer than that. Maybe. Depends. But, it's none of their business. It's simply none of their business. Here's another example. My cousins and auntie, they used to go roller skating all the time, rollerblading, and my sister and I, we weren't super sporty, athletic, outdoorsy. We didn't do any of that kind of stuff, right? So we went with them, went roller skating, we went skating and they'd blade. I should have bladed because I went recently and blading's so much fucking easier than skating. Anyway, regrets. But I was like, I'm going to fall. And my auntie said, if you tell yourself you're going to fall, you will fall. Simple as that. If you tell yourself, I'm all right, I'm good, I'm upright, your mindset is so powerful. If you're telling yourself, I'm going to fall, I'm going to fail, you fucking will. Switch it. Change it. It's the same with boxing yourself in. Always be curious. Always be striving to discover new parts of yourself, to revisit things that maybe you didn't like 5 years ago or a year ago, but now you actually kind of like it. And don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed to say, oh, it's not that you were wrong back then. I mean, you might have been, but it's not that you were wrong. It's that, oh, well, if someone says, oh, well, you didn't like that a year ago, well, my opinion changed. Am I not allowed to change? If people have a problem with you changing, again, like I said before, tell them to get fucked. I know I'm talking very generally, but anyway, you get my point. I'm sure that the people watching this have critical thinking skills and can differentiate from what I'm saying and not take everything to their personal circumstances, because that also pisses me off. Anyway, from the oldest daughter perspective of this, just because you were told you were one way growing up doesn't mean you have to stay in that. And people pleasing comes into this. Just because you were always the good girl, the responsible one, you do not have to stay in that and that in that energy. You can be whoever the fuck you want to be. You're probably told, oh, you always the good girl, very well mannered. Okay, still be a respectful, decent human being. But if you want to not people please so much and do something for yourself, feel free to do that. So don't feel ashamed for changing your opinions, for growing, for developing, for evolving. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't limit yourself. Don't speak for your future self, and stop trapping yourself in the idea that you've painted of yourself. You're always going to be growing, evolving, and you should be. You should want to do that because you're going to live a better and more fulfilled life for it. So I hope that made sense and it wasn't just one big pile of word vomit, which it kind of was, but sometimes you just gotta go with the flow and let your mouth run. That's gotten me in trouble a few times. But let me know if you relate in the comments, what your opinions are on this, and a little disclaimer, use your critical thinking and common sense. The things I say or that anyone says, nothing is ever black and white. So take it take it for what it is, take it at face value and take what you want from it. But yeah, I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe so I know if people actually like me yapping like this. Okay, bye.